Yeah, so the first symptoms I ever experienced, I woke up very early, and I remember the day specifically. It was October 31st. For a 15-year-old kid, should be a pretty exciting day, Halloween, and the anticipation of Halloween. I remember waking up in severe pain. In fact, my pain was so bad, the only option I had was to kind of run down to my parents' room. I went to my parents' room and just kind of described the abdominal all the way through to my back pain that I was experiencing. Luckily, by the grace of God, my dad is a family practice physician. He actually at first thought maybe I was having a heart attack or some heart issues. One of his partners was actually my family practice doctor. So I remember being a 15-year-old kid and just laying on one of his exam rooms for the entire day. Ran a lot of tests, had a lot of blood work done that day. And it wasn't until late in the evening, my dad had the idea, ran the numbers for pancreatitis, and the numbers came back just completely off the chart. And so I was immediately admitted into the hospital under the care of my physician. So after that first episode of pancreatitis I had, the doctors kind of told me, hey, this is a freak thing. You would should never experience anything like this. We'll kind of change your diet a little bit, eat a little bit healthier. And after that, you should be fine. And then very quickly, I got sick again. Difficult, painful cycle continued for about 6 months. After that, the doctors told me that I was diagnosed with chronic idiopathic pancreatitis, which basically means you're having reoccurring pancreatitis, but we just don't really know why. I think it was about 6 months to 9 months of dealing with this. The doctor said, well, there's even a rarer situation. And when the test came back, I was diagnosed with genetic chronic pancreatitis. So at 16, I was kind of facing the realization that this wasn't going to go away. So I had a port put into my chest, and that allowed the doctors to give me what's called TPN, which is a form of nutrition that bypasses your stomach. But I spent a long time on that nutrition medicine so I could get my weight back up. I even remember in senior high school going to a band competition away where we had to take the bus and stay, and my dad went with me. And every night he would hook me up to my medication. I wore my backpack, and we would do marching band practice. I was wearing my backpack. So I graduated high school, and I was accepted to the University of Texas at Tyler, out in East Texas, to go to their engineering program there. When I met Lacey, I hadn't known her that long, and I think probably before we even went on our first date, I think I told my mom, I'm going to marry this girl. And it's probably not great first date material, but I told her all the issues that I've experienced in my life and the things that I go through and what life is like.
We got married in 2007. The wedding day, Matt had communicated to me that he was not feeling well. So it was quite scary and stressful that day, and we just wanted to power through it. The next day we were headed out to Galveston for a cruise. We made it about halfway down before Matt decided that it was unbearable. It was too much to handle, the pain. And we had to pull over on the side of the road and call for an ambulance to come get us and take him home to his hospital. Yeah,
it was definitely a painful way to start your marriage. And we kind of figured and kind of joke now, if we could make it through that first week of marriage, and we can make it through anything. And I got to the point where I was losing weight. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't hold food down. I was just constantly in the hospital. When I wasn't in the hospital, I was pretty much bedridden or couch ridden. We talked to the doctor and said there has to be something else, or we've got to figure something out. And we were introduced to a doctor named Dr. Marlon Levy. Lacey was about 5 or 6 months pregnant with our second child, but we went to the Baylor Scott and White Hospital downtown and just met the most incredible people. We talked about the good and the bad. We talked about what life could be like after this procedure, but we also talked about the reality that it's major 18-hour surgery where they're taking a significant number of your organs out, and the likelihood and chances of not coming out the other end. But we made the decision together that I wasn't living right now, so it was worth going through something where I could possibly live, even if it means not living. So after spending some time recovering, and I was finally able to start kind of eating some food and experiencing some release of some of the dietary restrictions that I sort of experienced for so much of my kind of young adult life. And then I was noticing that I was having some problems. I was still losing weight, and I was having a lot of pressure on my abdomen. We found out that during the surgery, part of my lymphatic system, one of the ducts was cut, and this led to leaking of that fluid into my abdominal cavity. They put a port in my arm, and then I was fasted for close to 4 to 6 months, and it did nothing but consume calories via a backpack. We maintained that strict diet of no food, no water, just the feedings for the 4 to 6 month period. I was able to go from 120 pounds during that time back up to about 180, 190 pounds. And then we slowly started introducing food again. I slowly started going back to work. During that time, I was able to kind of, be with my kids and hold my boys and play with them. And I think it was at that point I realized that, it kind of hit me that it's been probably 6-9 months since I had my surgery, and I haven't experienced any pancreatitis pain. Just looking at that, I knew, all right, God has taken me away from kind of the prison that I had found myself in, of pancreatitis and the chronic suffering.
What was amazing was that just slowly over time, he could just do more. Like I remember him just taking us out on the boat on the lake, and he's like, let's take a picture because this is the best moment it's been in a long time.
I remember not too long after my surgery, Lacey asked me what I wanted to eat. And I remember as a kid growing up, I ate a lot of golden chick, and that was a spot that my brothers and my dad, and we would go to church, and then after church we'd come back, or we'd stop by Golden Chick and get some chicken. So I remember eating golden chick for the first time, and I think we even have a picture of me holding up my chicken tender and eating a piece of fried chicken that I probably hadn't participated in over 15 years. The way that I know God is in the mix of this whole story is even during some of my setbacks, I would go to the hospital, to an emergency room, and I would have doctors tell me that you can't live without a pancreas. And that's what reminds me that God's in the mix, because God can do incredible things. And although he did it at the hands of a surgeon, God put that man in my life, that doctor who I consider a friend today. And now I'm living a miraculous life. I am a miracle, and that's all God's doing. And just the fact that I can be the father I want to be today, I can be the husband I want to be today, and I get to celebrate Father's Day on my 10th year anniversary of losing my pancreas is because God was in the mix.
I know God is in the middle of all of this through just the testimony we get to share throughout our lives. The testimony to the nurses, the doctors. There's been many nurses that we got to talk to about God and pray with. Just being able to share just difficult times that we went through, and the difficulty of being even a parent and having someone sick in the house. Just being able to share this testimony today